what's up? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for checking today's video out. Much appreciated. Today we're going to be beginning a series of talking about the uncomfortable truths of bass fishing, and we're going to probably try to do like 3 of them, every day, every other day for a while till we go through all of them. There's a bunch of them, but we're going to start out with 3 today, the 3 uncomfortable truths about bass fishing. So before we get started, guys, just a weekly reminder, I'd like to invite everybody to please check out the link in the description to fishthemoment.com. We have our spring lake map breakdowns on the website there. These breakdowns give you a bunch of good GPS waypoints that you can go straight to, start catching fish. And if our lakes are not on the website, you can have a virtual lesson with us, and we can go over any lake you want to. It doesn't matter how big it is. So I'll put the fishthemoment.com link in the description. Much appreciated. Okay, guys, let's get into these first 3 here. We're going to talk about the uncomfortable truths of bass fishing, which there are many, and see what you guys think about it. So the first one is that you cannot force fish to bite. It doesn't matter how convinced you are that they're going to bite a certain lure or you're going to catch them a certain way. It usually never works out like that. If it does, it's an exception to the rule. So never assume that you can, force something to work. A lot of people say, well, I'm going to go out and flip a jig all day long, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to put this swim bait in my hand all day long and not take it out, or I'm going to swing for the fences by fishing this deep diving crankbait all day. Most of the time, if you get locked in and hard-headed like that, you're probably going to not catch them more than you're going to catch them. So for the first part, guys, just remember that you have to listen to the fish. You can't force them to fish the way that you want to catch them. Sometimes you can be stubborn and stay with something, and there's little bite windows during the day and you can catch a few, but for the most part, you have to listen to the fish and you're not going to force them to bite. Next one, number 2, uncomfortable truths in bass fishing, is bass do not watch YouTube videos or read books. And as much information is available by reading about bass fishing, about watching fishing YouTube videos, or, however you get your fishing information, a lot of times bass, they do the direct opposite things. I mean, I can sit here and talk all day long about seasonal patterns and where the fish should be, and they should hit this color or they should hit this bait under this condition. But ultimately, it's sort of like number 1, that's not always the case. I mean, fish change, their mood and their personality change day to day. I mean, they hour to hour sometimes. I mean, you got environmental conditions, you got different external conditions that change all the time, and it flips a switch in the bass sometimes, and sometimes it turns them off, sometimes it turns them on, sometimes it puts them in a reactive mode, a feeding mode. There's so many mysterious variables about fishing, and it needs to be like that, guys. We need to have mystery in fishing. Don't ever feel like you want to get to the point where you think you know so much about fishing that the mystique is gone from it. That's why I preach against live scope and that type of technology. Is it's very critical for us to have that element of the unknown. That's very powerful, and that's one of the most important, and that's one of the most valuable aspects in fishing. So from that standpoint, when we give you information like on YouTube, on this channel or whatever, just sort of use that as a foundation, someplace to start at. I mean, if I talk about April bass fishing and I tell you guys that this should work or this has been working for me, yeah, you can assimilate that information and put it in your memory bank and maybe try it a little bit. But more than not, you're going to have to make some type of a adaptive, changes on the lake to meet, mood and personality fish changes. So main thing is just keep an open mind. And the third uncomfortable truth for today, first edition here, is you're going to have bad days on the water. We all do. I don't care who you are. Nobody's immune to it. You can be on the biggest bunch of fish one day and not catch anything the next day. Bass fishing is a matter of decision-making processes, and you can't try everything in one day. There are hundreds and hundreds of possibilities as far as presentations, lures, lure colors, areas of the water that you're fishing, depth water columns, the list goes on and on and on. And you're not going to hit those, all that stuff is going to not come together sometime, because in order for you to have those good days on the water, you have to have everything come together perfectly. And that's not going to happen all the time. So you need to accept the fact that some days are just going to be tough. Some days you're going to suck. Some days you're not going to catch anything. But don't let that get your confidence down, because even on those bad days you have, there's something to be learned from that. And it's another thing to file away in your memory bank. So as uncomfortable as it is to have those really bad days on the water, because nobody likes it, you sort of have to learn from it. And, you know, the more that you become aware of some things that maybe you didn't do right on one particular day, the less chances that you are down the road to make those same decisions again. But ultimately, even the best anglers out there have bad days on the water. So that's just part of fishing. Just don't be too hard on yourself when you have those days. So it's just part of the game of fishing. It's just like if you golf, sometimes some of those putts are going to go in, some of them are just going to, you know, rim around the edges and not go in. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back another one or another video and go over the next three most biggest issues in fishing that's hard to deal with. So see you guys later.